Good morning, everybody. This is actually my second attempt to do this video, so if you're watching this for a second time, I apologize, but welcome. For those of you who don't know, my name is Dr. Chad Walding, and in this video, I want to talk more about what NativePath is, what we stand for, our mission, and really welcome you into this community and ultimately this lifestyle. This group is amazing. It's an amazing place for support, amazing place for transformation, amazing place for you to get information to heal yourself, get out of pain, whatever you're going through. But I felt it was important to really let you know who we are. Normally I talk about something that you can do to get out of pain or some way you can eat or sleep better or something. But this is really going to serve as an orientation for those of you who are coming into our community and really helping you understand more about what it is that we are all about. So in this video, you're going to get all that. You're going to hear some stories. You're going to hear about our 3 pillars of health, and you're going to get more understanding of how it is that we can help you. So again, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Chad Walding, and I'm a doctor of physical therapy, and the inspiration for NativePath really all began with my experience as a physical therapist in the conventional healthcare system. So I think it was about almost 20 years ago, I was working as an intern as a physical therapist. My first internship was at a hospital in Houston that was world-renowned for its treatment in heart disease. And I remember I would treat patients who would just get out of heart surgery, and they would ask to be taken down to the second floor, I believe it was on, where there was a McDonald's. And that really kind of puzzled me a little bit. I remember going down there at McDonald's and having taken this patient who just got out of heart surgery and seeing white coats and nurses and other people and people with IVs eating McDonald's and drinking Cokes and eating French fries. And I didn't know much about nutrition at the time, but I was making a connection that something was wrong there. McDonald's in a hospital, people in time of needing really proper nutrition were not eating the best food. Right? So I got to thinking a little bit differently about what was going on. And after that, I started working in the outpatient clinic. I started working with people with back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, sciatica, post-surgery, pre-surgery. There's really nothing I didn't see in that clinic. And I got to talk with patients one-on-one, got to really understand them, what they were going through. And in physical therapy school, I had spent years studying why people are in pain and how to get out of that naturally through therapeutic exercises. I learned that poor positions, sitting all the time, moving incorrectly, musculoskeletal imbalances were really the cause of most of the pain that people were experiencing. And I also was educated on how to fix this through corrective exercises and teaching people how to move correctly and put themselves in better position. But when I talked to these people, I got to understand their history and what was happening when they first experienced the pain. And more often than not, they were given a pill or something like to numb the pain so they wouldn't feel it. But the root of the issue was never really being addressed by that conventional approach. So I was kind of making this connection here between the way we were eating was causing a lot of these chronic diseases that we were having, and the way we're moving and the positions that we're having is causing a lot of the physical pain that we're experiencing. And after working in the outpatient clinic, I spent many years doing home health physical therapy. So I would go into people's homes. These are people that were not well enough to go to the outpatient clinic, but I would go into these people's homes, and these were people that were dealing with heart disease, diabetes, obesity, cancer, Alzheimer's. Really got to see a lot of the chronic diseases that are costing our healthcare system so much. And when you look at it from the past 100 years, have really all accelerated in terms of the diagnosis that people are having. Heart disease was very rare at the beginning of the 20th century. Cancer has gone up significantly. Alzheimer's was fairly rare around the 70s, but it keeps going up. So it really got me asking a lot of questions because I was seeing so much suffering in this conventional healthcare model. And I had also experienced a lot of personal suffering. So for those of you who've seen some of my other videos about loving yourself and feeling like you're enough, a lot of that comes from having an understanding of what it's like to be unhappy and sad. So I grew up fairly unhappy, fairly depressed. It got increasingly worse around college. I was taking prescription medications. I hit a very low point in my life, so I understood what it was like to go through mental challenges and emotional challenges. And something that a lot of you don't know is that during that time, my wife was also diagnosed with breast cancer. So we got to really feel what it's like to sit in the doctor's office, in an oncologist's office, and be told that you have cancer. And that was very scary for us. It's very scary to be told you have to do chemo and do radiation and take tamoxifen. But through those processes, we learned a lot. And I'm happy to say that I'm extremely happy now, and my wife's doing very, very well. But that really sent us down a rabbit hole of research. After having witnessed so much suffering in the conventional healthcare system, after feeling a lot of these challenges ourselves, we really went down the rabbit hole of research. So as I was doing home health physical therapy, I was constantly listening to research and interviews from doctors and researchers who were getting to the root origins of why we're having so much chronic disease in our modern society, why we're so unhappy, and how we're so far removed from the way our ancestors lived. And I learned about guys like Weston A. Price and how he studied all these indigenous cultures all around the world. I think he studied 19-something different cultures that were still living around the early part of the 20th century, that were still eating their native foods, but they weren't experiencing these chronic diseases that we were having in this modern society. And it really wasn't until after these modern foods, white flour, white sugar, toxic fats, were introduced into their food supply that these chronic diseases started to come in. So I really became interested in ancestral health. I became so interested in ancestral health, actually, that I went down to the Amazon to live with indigenous people. I did a 40-day study living with indigenous people deep in the Amazon, no connection with the outside world. We're talking, 20 hours from the nearest town by canoe, but got to see how our ancestors lived in a very real way, and got to learn a lot about community and how a tribe actually works together and goes hunting together and fishes together and comes together at night around a campfire and sings songs with ceremonies. And when I came back from that experience, I recognized that the way we're living today is radically different from the way our ancestors lived for thousands and thousands of years. So this all led me to this major realization. And the best way I can describe this is an analogy that I like to use in a lot of my presentations. So some of you may be familiar with what's been happening with orcas in captivity and in like SeaWorld and all these water world parks all across the world. They started noticing that there was something happening with orcas' fins, right? This is Shamu that I'm talking about here. So instead of a straight fin, they started noticing that these orcas started having floppy fins, like all across the world. And it's something that doesn't really occur when orcas live out in the ocean, right? Very rarely, if ever, does it happen. And they started researching this more. And they found there's really three main reasons why orcas were having floppy fins when they're held in captivity in these tanks, right? So one of the reasons is that the whale is always swimming in a counterclockwise direction, right? Only one side of the actual fin is getting forces distributed upon it. So it's putting pressure on the fin in one direction, right? The other reason is because they're not swimming to great lengths in the deep water. So they're not getting the pressure from the ocean that comes, which builds up a stronger tissue in the actual fin. And the last reason is their food. In the actual water world zoo there, they're fed zoo food for whales. It's not real, it's not native to what they're eating. It's a lot of grains, a lot of toxic foods in there. But out in the ocean, they're eating normal whale food diet, right? They're swimming in tribes, in herds like they normally do. But the point is that the issue that the whale was having, this floppy fin, and along with that, lots of emotional issues and chronic diseases like heart disease that came in, these things weren't occurring with the orcas when they're in the wild, right? It's all a consequence of the environment that the whale was actually living in. And the realization I came to after doing all this research and experiencing how indigenous people lived was that we are living in a human tank. Right? In this human tank, we've been brought up 3 or 4 generations now of people eating processed and refined foods, high amounts of sugar, refined carbohydrates, grains that are not normal, toxic fats. We've got fast food and sodas and all these things, and we have engineers that are literally, that's their job, is to make foods that get you addicted so you keep eating more and more. And this food has very little nutritional value, right? And along with that, the way we've been moving, right? From a very early age, like 5 years old, we're told to sit down in a chair in school and stay there and be quiet. And we stay there all through elementary school, middle school, high school, college, and we get jobs. And we sit in cars and we drive to work where we sit all day, and then we drive back home, and we come home and we sit on the couch and we watch Netflix. And we're always in this sitting position. And I started noticing how our postures are crumbling. Our heads are going forward, our shoulders are drooping, our spine is slouched. And we start having pain, right? We start having chronic diseases come in. We start to get unhappy because we're living in this human tank. But this conventional healthcare model has not been so interested in getting to the root of the issue and educating you on how to eat better, how to move better, how to live better. It's more interested in giving you a pill to treat your symptoms so you don't feel the pain you're going through, right? So you've been conditioned to numb your pain. You've been conditioned to hide the pain, get rid of it. If something is wrong with your body, the conventional thought is, well, let's just cut it out. Let's just take out your disc. Let's just snip out your meniscus, right? Rather than really looking at why is that disc out of place in the first place? Why is your blood pressure so high in the first place? Why are your hormones imbalanced in the first place? Could it have anything to do with the way you're eating, the way you're moving, and the way you're living your life? So I became super passionate about this. I started applying principles. I started eating differently, moving differently, living my life in a different way. My wife started doing this. We became so passionate about it. We started giving lectures at local gyms. It was something that was very fulfilling to us. We started noticing the people that were attending those lectures getting radical results. I started telling everybody about it, and I began getting connected to people. And one of the people that I became connected to is this amazing man who's now one of my best friends. His name is Chris Clark. And he ended up co-founding NativePath with me. And when I first met him, he had like a double chin and a red face, and he was way overweight. He had tried every diet, he had tried every exercise program, but got no results. And we had a great conversation over breakfast one day, and I was like, look, let's check out the way you're actually eating. Let's look at how you're moving. Let's look at the way you're living your life. And these three pillars, eating, moving, and living, are really the keys and the principles and the three pillars to a native path lifestyle, right? So what we're trying to do here is provide a pathway, as native path. It's a journey for you to get back to your ancient roots. Now, we don't mean like going back and living in teepees and sitting by a fire every night. We're combining this knowledge of ancient wisdom with modern science to go even beyond, even further, and have an even better life than humans have ever had before. So what we did was we started a program. Our first program was a 30-day challenge, a Paleo Secret 30-day challenge. We've now upgraded that into the Native Body 30-day reset, where we teach people these principles on how to eat, how to move, and how to live your life. Look at how you're sleeping, look at how you're digesting your food, look at your stress levels. All these things are so important. And what we realized was the 30-day program will only get people so far, because people have been living in this modern society for so long that there's certain deficiencies that they still have as a result of this. For instance, collagen is a protein that is quite abundant in our ancestors' natural diet, but because of the way we've been living today, we're quite deficient in collagen. Our ancestors ate nose to tail, but now we get very little collagen. You have to make a lot of bone broth that typically stinks up the house. So collagen became our featured premier supplement. And around that, we have krill oil to fix inflammation in the body. We have turmeric to also improve your mood, and a green supplement to really get your body the most amount of nutrients that you can. So we have a whole line of supplements now to help people make up for these deficiencies that we have in our modern diets, all built around these pillars of eating, moving, and living in the way that you're designed for. So we're really on a mission to help people feel better. Our big dream is to one day that hospitals will turn into apartments, because disease will be a thing of the past. I can't wait for the day when I go back to Houston and that heart hospital will be an apartment, because these chronic modern diseases, we'll have figured them out. We'll have figured out how to actually live our lives and get to the root of the problem, such that we never have these chronic pains, such that we never have these chronic diseases. So That's our mission. And our values are really built around this ancestral health model and combining that with modern science. And we always like to say, you know, if you want the quick answer on what to do for your health, just do what your genes are expecting of you, right? Now, many of us hear the word genes, and it's typically something that comes up with something that runs in your family. Like heart disease always runs in my family, cancer runs in my family, Alzheimer's runs in my family. But you have to consider what it is, what type of environment your family has been in. Has your family all been around the same dinner table, eating the same foods, thinking the same thoughts, having the same stress, all living in the same type of way? And in that way, it can get very confusing. You know, it can get very confusing when your doctors who are trying to help you with a chronic disease are also in this human tank and eating poor foods and moving in a poor way and living their life in a poor way, because they too have been conditioned to just give you one pill to treat this one symptom so you don't feel the issue that's going on. We have to get to the root of the problem. And this is where you come in, because you have to take responsibility for your health. No one else is going to do it for you. We can't get you to go to the grocery store and cook healthy food. We can't get you up off the couch and go for a walk. We can't get you to take some time to relax and breathe and calm yourself down. We can't get you to journal about all the amazing things that you are and give you appreciation for your life. All we can do is guide you, right? It's up to you to take responsibility and truly invest in your health. And I really want to encourage you to be aware that an investment in your health gives you more return than any other investment that you could ever invest in your entire life. Because when you feel good, feeling good is like the greatest currency in this entire universe. When you feel good, you attract a different energy. You're more productive, you're happier, you have a better life experience, right? When you numb the pain, when you just treat the symptom, you numb your pain, but you also numb your joy. As a human being, it's like it's your birthright to have a good experience and feel good. So that's what we're trying to do here, and provide you with that opportunity through our programs, through our supplements, through this amazing group that is here to support you. I assure you, this is the most amazing place in all of Facebook. Please introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, where you're from, what your health goals are, and how we can help you. I also want to mention that we have an incredible amount of resources available to you for free. The term NativePath to us means there's not a one-size-fits-all approach to anything. Everyone is different, right? Someone who has never eaten a bit of whole food in their life, who's way overweight, who's sitting on the couch and who's 60 years old, has a completely different food prescription and a completely different movement prescription than someone who's 30 years old, who's lean, who's active, right? So there's not a one-size-fits-all approach. But what we're doing here with NativePath is we've created so many different opportunities to meet you where you're at, depending on what your biggest health issue is and who you are in the context of who you are. So we've provided so many resources out there already, and we have so many things coming out. You know, if you have shoulder pain, we have shoulder pain videos. If your issues are stress, we have stress-related videos to help you. We have videos to help you with your sleep, your digestion, losing weight, improving your energy, so many different things. But again, we can only provide them for you. It's up to you to take responsibility and invest in your health and take action. That's more important than anything else. So hope you guys enjoyed that. I just wanted to introduce myself, tell you more about our story, who we are, and what it is our intentions are here for you, and help you in any way you can. So thank you so much for watching. If you could please just leave a comment. Let me know if you have any questions or any remarks you want to share. And again, thank you so much for being in this community, and I look forward to seeing your success story. Okay, talk soon.